Hey everyone, it's a daily dose of Dr. Drew.
Here we are, guys. Thank you for joining us. I'll wait for the scroll to kind of heat up here a little bit before I start talking. Although, let me give a little primer here at the beginning. Either I am very poor at communicating, or it's just stunning how people hear what they want to hear. I went, like I said yesterday, I did an interview where the intent of the interview was to talk about how I do not want to run for Congress, but feel morally compelled to do something. Then 5 outlets picked it up and completely distorted everything I said, which is what print always does. They did not check with me. They did not check with the author of the article who interviewed me. They didn't check anything, and they wrote their own narrative, which was completely opposite of the point of the article. So I went on TV last night, and I said, look, to be clear, I want these guys to govern. I feel compelled to do something, but I do not want to do this. I'm not intending to do this. And today I woke up to everybody telling me they're supporting my run for Congress.
Which is lovely.
Which is lovely, but it's not what I intend to do.
We have about 500 emails, Drew. I think we raised enough money already.
Maybe you're going to force me to run? Is that the plan?
I was the one against it the most, and every time I see these emails, I start going. We've even had poly parents, past friends.
Very nice.
Say they would send us money. Everybody wants to.
It's very nice.
Contribute to your campaign.
But I have no intentions.
And it's not going to happen in March. It would have to be 2 years away,
right.
Just so everybody knows.
That's right. There's zero intention of doing it. The enrollment date is coming up like next week.
Right.
I have no plan to
Yeah, it won't
enroll.
be right away. I mean, he still has Teen Mom. He's committed to, because that show's still running. He wouldn't be able to do that. He also has a bunch of speaking engagements this year.
I also would not be able to do this show if you guys. We appreciate you guys buying these
We'd have
T-shirts.
to stop
We'd have
doing
to stop doing
Dr.
that show, which
Drew
we're having
after
fun doing these days. And God knows this show might end up being a liability.
No, it won't.
Well, there's other T-shirts. I'm sure I'm going to flash that one up there.
We definitely want, if you love Dr. Drew After Dark, I'd love for you guys to head over to the merchmethod.com/Tom Segura. Pick up your favorite T-shirt. You shouldn't prolapse your anus is a hot seller. And then
shockingly,
the more conservative Dr. Drew After Dark, which I think is a really nice shirt. I might actually get some coffee mugs too.
That's this one.
Yeah, that one's cool.
Amy, I want to answer your question about 13 years sober and then CBD oil. Here's the deal. Low dose, no THC, and make sure it's from a company like Social CBD, the guys that I promote on my platform, that do proper testing of their products. So low dose, not always using it, right? Use it just sparingly for periods of time, not just chronically.
Oops.
No THC. Make sure it's the CBD without THC. What did you do?
I accidentally made the T-shirts go back in. Sorry, I beg your pardon.
Child development major. The most important thing I've learned about is it's adverse childhood experiences. Can you? And then so you sort of trail off there. I'm not sure what. Here is Christian Kolbenson, who was the young man who sent us the
lava lamp.
Lava lamp. We appreciate that. I remember that lava lamp. It sat in the background in Loveline Studios for a long time.
It was here for a while too, right?
Yeah.
Where'd it go?
It was here for a while?
I think so.
No, I don't think so. I don't think
we
were
have
in
a
here.
lava lamp?
Yeah, but it was not the one from the Loveline Studio.
Oh, okay.
We enjoyed that one for a long time. Appreciate you guys joining in again on Sunday. If you sign up at drdrew.tv, we'll send you a blast. Around 3 o'clock, we're going to start with Duncan Trussell and my daughter Paulina Pinsky, and we're going to, amongst other things, we're going to talk about hallucinogenics and their therapeutic use. It's kind of something I'm interested in.
So if you have questions about ayahuasca and psilocybin and ketamine, we're also going to have a psychiatrist call in from New York who uses it in treatment.
Uses ketamine or uses all these others?
Ketamine on a regular basis, but she's used all of these. So
okay,
I just interviewed her. Finally, we got her.
Interesting.
Expert.
Okay, I'm very interested in talking to her because
good.
I know there's therapeutic use out there. I just don't know the dangers, and that it's I can at least press her on those issues and how she overcomes them.
And Paulina also wants to yell at you for not telling her about
my not wrong for Congress, my not running for Congress, with my kids are yelling at me about because people are beating on them the way they beat on me. Please, people.
I don't have a problem with that. I think that's great.
The people don't listen to they read fake news because 5 outlets faked the news. It was not correct. It was the opposite of what my interview said. And then when I went on TV and said it, people still heard what they wanted to hear.
Well,
It's
you were
interesting.
considering governor, okay?
It's
You did
interesting when you say,
entertain the
I'm
thought.
not running for Congress. People hear, this is a Scott Adams thing. Scott Adams always warns me about this. People hear, I'm running for Congress. And it's uncanny the way that is true. It's really kind of extraordinary. All right, guys, thank you all for being here. What's the best way to be analyzed for, I think you mean autistic spectrum disorder? The best way to really get firm diagnostic information is to do what's called neuropsychiatric testing, which is a day or two of real extensive formal testing so you can see exactly what's going on. That's really the way you come up with a firm diagnosis. Again, thank you. Oh, that's you, Susan, putting the merch method up there. Maybe I should be working with Adam Schiff. Yeah, Modern World Zen. I am open to, I'm just interested in our representatives governing. We are dying out here in Southern California, and it seems like they are asleep at the wheel, and they're interested in political theater. Happily, yesterday.
I was thinking about that too.
Yesterday.
Or who's running against Schiff this time?
Yesterday, Gavin Newsom started saying things that were sane and really seriously appropriate about the homeless thing. And I thought, thank you, Governor. I actually tweeted that what he had said, and I thanked him for saying it. It's the very beginning of approaching this problem the way it needs to be approached.
Well, there's a lot of things in this district that need to be changed as well. So,
well, we need the IMD exclusion lifted. You can read about that if you wish. We need infrastructure. We need help with gravely disabled. We need conservatorship expansion. And we need more psychiatric beds and psychiatrists. Those are the basic things we need to get this thing under control a little bit.
Well, okay. But somebody said, are you able to do all the other stuff as a congressman in this district? Like, we know there's certain things you can do, but are you qualified to do all the things that a congressman, that Schiff does in this district?
We are a government of the people. The idea, if you read Democracy in America, Alexis de Tocqueville's famous analysis in the 1840s of how democracy is practiced in America. It's about the practice of democracy and the participation by all the citizens. It's a citizen government. You all should be thinking about running for government. This is how we are supposed to have functioned. We're going to have people who want to make a change, stepping up and going, I think I'd like to represent you and go work on behalf of the people to serve the country. We all should be thinking that way. This is a citizen government.
You're good at everything.
And to be thinking in terms of needing specialized training to be in the government, that's anathema to our form of government. Now, you can certainly bring people into your system after you as a citizen.
Hire the right people.
Right, to proper advisors and things. But as the leadership, it should be citizens. But they need to govern. They've not been governing lately.
And there are a lot of somebody said I'm a big Schiff fan. Of course, there's a lot of big Schiff.
Listen, I was not a fan. We are dying out here, and when they refuse to govern, we got to make a change. That's the way it goes. I'm not going to be that person. Not this time around. Maybe next time.
Are mad. Some people love him. So
it's fine.
That's democracy for you.
If you lived in this area, you would understand what I'm talking about. Those of you in Simi Valley, Sun Valley, La Crescenta, tell me you're not desperate for some representation and some need for help in your part of the country. All right. So, in any event, not my problem. I'm going to continue to work at it the way I am, which is trying to get the state government, the county government, and the federal government to come in on behalf of people who are dying in our streets to help. There are things to be done. They're very clear. Those of us that have worked with this population, myself for decades, I know exactly what it is. I know exactly how it could be, and I know exactly what we need to get it there. So I'll keep working on that.
And you're going back to the White House.
I'm going back to do an addiction symposium over there probably. Let's see. Ready to start weaning off benzos, taking for 11 years as prescribed. I'm horrified of the withdrawal. Okay. How much you taking? What are you taking? The other thing is I am not a fan of taper. Of any substance. I think it's just a way of prolonging the misery. And there are ways of doing sort of a rapid taper and putting you on cross-tolerant substances. Somebody who really knows what they're doing can treat you for the withdrawal so you get through it in a few weeks, at least for the short-acting benzodiazepines. And if you're on a long-acting benzodiazepine like Klonopin, the withdrawal symptoms, mild post-acute withdrawal symptoms, will go on for up to a year. And that needs to be managed also with pharmacology. So,
Drew, did you know you can scroll up and see the previous questions?
I do, but then I lose track of the ones below.
I was just going to let you know while you were talking. Maybe you
Thank
wanted
you.
to scroll up.
No, I saw most of them coming by here.
You can dual task.
I can dual task. The state hospitals need to be reopened. Yeah, we need some sort of system. I would encourage everybody to look at the Trieste plan, which is a community-based vocational rehabilitation, therapeutic living environment where people can form meaningful life, get transportation, get proper care. Trieste plan. I know we're looking at it like here in LA County, we need massive participation to really build that plan out. And that is not about housing. I mean, it's about a housing environment, not so much about housing. Ativan with Valium, right? No, Susan. I don't detox Ativan with Valium. I don't use benzodiazepines to detox somebody from a benzodiazepine. I use substances that activate the same part of the cell membrane, which are chloride channels, by ameliorating and adjusting that problem, that reconfiguration of the chloride channel, with things like gabapentin, anti-seizure medication, barbiturates. There's all kinds of things you can use to help maintain some of that stuff. Cyclic vomit syndrome, which is, as I understand it, what's called a functional problem. You're asking about that. Yeah, I'm sure I've treated people with that, but it's a very challenging problem to treat. It's unpleasant, obviously, too. CBD safe or dangerous for recovering alcoholics and recovering drug addicts? It's treacherous. This is the second time I'm answering this question today. No THC. Make sure it's somebody like Social CBD that's doing the proper testing on the products, and low dose. Stay with a low dose. Like if you're up in the hundreds of milligrams, too much, and don't stay on it chronically.
Did you see the one about THC causing ED?
Yeah, they can do that. Mostly Igor lived in Trieste, and they have a big compound for the mentally ill people. That is exactly correct. That's the compound that we're thinking about reproducing throughout the country. Mostly Igor. Tell me what you thought of the plan. Tell me what the people of Trieste thought about it and how it looked to you guys. Is the 3% only recover a true statistic? I'm not sure what you're talking about there, Christian. I will tell you that the interesting thing about addiction in this country is only 10% of people with addiction access treatment for addiction. And when you interview that 90%, 80% of that 90% will say the reason I haven't gotten treatment is, why would I? I don't need treatment. I'm fine. That's denial. That's anosognosia. That's how these mental illnesses kill people. They block the insight into what's happening to their life as a result of the condition. Okay, I'm going to try to go to this particular interesting question here. Somebody asked me a very complicated autosomal dominant progressive external ophthalmoplegia. I'm not sure. External ophthalmoplegia, I'm certain you mean that the external movement of the eye is blocked due to a genetic variation. I've not seen that disorder, and it's autosomal dominant, therefore it means you're going to get it either way. So interesting. Hold on a second, guys. I'm trying to get up with you guys. No. Christian, I don't know where that 3% came from. I can tell you for sure, I had personally, with the program we were working with, 10 times that effect. As long as people remained engaged in treatment and followed directions, they remained and progressed and did well. And the reality is, of those that maintain abstinence for, really it's about, I believe it's 5 years, I believe. 4 years, I think it is. You end up with the same probability of relapse as the probability of developing addiction in the general population. Is Adderall like meth? Well, Adderall, the name for Adderall is dextroamphetamine. Meth is methamphetamine. They are obviously very related. Adderall, not the same addictive potential, but if you have a stimulant addiction, you should not be on Adderall. I've seen disasters from that. I am not running in 2020. Again, to repeat that over and over and over again, I guess that's the way people would hear it. Way to go, Christian, on those 11 years. I know how challenging that is. 2 years, prescribed Nuvigil at 6 months clean. Nuvigil in low dose is probably not a problem, although I have some concerns for those substances. Provigil and Nuvigil in low dose may be okay. All right, guys, do you have any other questions for me? Well, again, we'll be in here tomorrow, Sunday rather, at 3 o'clock with our call-in show where it's not just a scroll that I'm reacting to. We'll actually have call. You can call in. You can also sign up at drdrew.tv to be to receive the blast that will let you know we're out streaming. And then, Ms. Producer, there is a place they can send their emails?
Yes.
Okay.
Well, you can sign up at drdrew.tv and be on the email list. And then you can also go to drdrew.com and send an email. We see them. I don't, if you have questions, but we haven't been reading a lot of emails lately, Drew. So, but we do appreciate your emails. And Drew can't respond and give you medical help. So you won't get like an email back with all your answers, because obviously he can talk about it on the show,
right,
but he can't respond.
I can't do medical
So
management.
I see him, in the old days we would do the show and we would read the emails when we couldn't take phone calls, but now we can take phone calls. If you want to write a question and then call us up during the show, that would work out too. But it's hard, pretty much all it's been so far is please run for Congress, Drew, and
maybe someday.
And then some medical things in between. But as I said, he can't respond to your emails. So don't tell him to send you an email because they're not going to get a response.
And Matt, thank you. He says he's gone about 50% through the Kate Kennedy interview on Dr. Drew After Dark, and he thought it was fun. And it is she was very interesting.
Didn't you say she was is she the one that you...
Yep. You have to watch this in the episode.
Sorry.
Back surgery and addiction. I'm not sure what your question is about that. How many milligrams of Provigil? I use it so rarely I can't give you the exact milligram dose. I would just stay on I know they have pushed the doses sometimes, just stay on the very lowest possible dose of Provigil. All right, guys, I think we're sort of running out of steam here, but I'm happy to sit here just a minute, see if you have other questions come up. Let me see if there's other things on my mind today. Mostly on my mind was just how extraordinarily fake the press is and how they march off with their own conclusions about everything. They don't even read the original interview. They only read the headline and then go and write an article off the headline. The headline, of course, is not a representation of what's in the article. They don't check with me. They don't check with the woman that interviewed me. It's fake news. We have a pandemic of fake news. Don't kid yourself. And the people that don't like using that term, then stop doing it. Then stop creating the fake news, and I'll happily stop using the term. There's something called Gell-Mann amnesia. I brought this up before, which was a famous physicist named Dr. Gell-Mann, and he realized that every time he read the paper and saw a physics story in the press, he looked at it and said, this is totally wrong. They don't understand what they're talking about. And yet when he then would read about international relationships and politics and business, he assumed that those were accurate. It's just because he knew physics, he knew how wrong it was. The fact is they're just as inaccurate in all the topics that they cover. But if you're an expert in a given area, you see glaringly how egregiously inaccurate the press is. And nowhere more so than if you're the object of the story. Be the object of a written story sometime, and you will see how far they go from the truth and the facts. It's really astonishing. They should be ashamed of themselves.
Well, that's why you don't interview for.
That's why I don't do print interview.
Yeah, when we do the red carpets, because they always twist everything.
Yeah, well, okay.
Every time.
All right, let's look at what we've got here. Best treatment for BPH. I assume you're talking about benign prostatic hypertrophy. There are many different things for that. There are things that sort of shrink it. There are things that that relax the muscle so urine can get through more easily. It's a combination of treatments that usually are the best, and you have to kind of mess around to find the one that's best for you. Between the Flomax and the Propitias and the things that are there to help. But then there are surgeries. There are very, very good surgeries if it really becomes obstructed. Okay. It's not just the press, but talk shows like The View and late night talk shows that talk about fake news like it's real. Yes, that's true.
Well, it brings followers and listeners.
Here's Villa D. Frid. I'm a data scientist, and climate models are oversold. That's what I've heard. Not that they're not accurate. That the conclusions are being amplified. And again, we'll see. That we still need to do something about it, nonetheless, and I hope we will.
So tell everybody again our topic this weekend. If you want to skip the line and text your question to 9842 Dr. Drew, that's 237-3739. You can get your question in advance and we'll text you when we go live. You'll be right at the top of the line of callers. But we're talking about psilocybin and ayahuasca and also ketamine as
Therapeutic options.
yes.
Therapeutic
So
uses.
yeah, so check it out this Saturday at 3 p.m. Drew's lovely daughter, my lovely daughter, Paulina, is here, and she's going to be talking about her new book and also what it's like to be Dr. Drew's daughter.
Okay. And we should remember to bring this up tomorrow too, because she'll have something to say about this too. But Jillian, I'm forgetting Jillian's last name, the trainer on The Biggest Loser, Jillian, blanking on her last name. And Lizzo had a big controversy yesterday. Jillian essentially went in an interview that she was concerned that Lizzo was going to get diabetes and that by, I don't want to mischaracterize what she said, but it was taken as sort of body shaming.
Right.
And that if Lizzo didn't, rather than glorifying, or I don't want to use the wrong words, that not addressing the potential of there being metabolic problems related to her weight, Jillian Michaels thought it was irresponsible. Thank you, Linda. And the reality is that the connection between obesity and diabetes is not direct. It's not if you're overweight, you're going to get diabetes. It's not direct. Though we do believe that a lot of the increase in type 2 diabetes is related to body habitus, which is true. You outstrip your body's ability to produce the insulin necessary to metabolize the glucose. And weight is definitely part of that. And once you cross into it, it's very hard to come back. It's very difficult. Hypertension is another thing in some individuals associated with weight. But there's actually something called the obesity paradox, which is, look it up. Look up the obesity paradox, which is that people that are overweight live longer. And we don't know what to do about that, how to exactly what that is the result of, or whether people, we don't know. It's called the obesity paradox. So to be making too much of Lizzo and her body habitus is, I think that's a legitimate thing not to do, and to.
That's right up Paulina's alley.
Yeah,
too.
We'll have her talk about it tomorrow.
She's a big fan of anti-body shaming.
Yeah, and I'm a big fan of Lizzo's, and I'm certainly Jillian Michaels' intention was in the right place, in that she was, she's worried about somebody's metabolic status, but. Jillian is exercise bulimia, so maybe I should worry about her. I'm not saying that she does have it. I'm saying she may have it. That's, I have it, so relax.
That's true.
Yeah.
You have an eating disorder, too. Nobody's perfect.
Ask your questions here. I'm watching the scroll on Facebook, Periscope, and wherever else you're watching
Twitch,
YouTube.
Mixer,
wherever else you're watching this, put up some questions, and I will see it in the scroll here.
I'll give you 5 more minutes.
All right, 5 more minutes. We'll sit and watch the scroll and see.
I don't see a lot of YouTube, but oh yeah, there it is here. I just want to make sure it's streaming.
What do I recommend Nikki Glazer use for her periodic depression? And she was very clear about her mood disturbance on Dr. Drew After Dark. She has told me in a Instagram live that she's on Trintellix, and that's a very good medication. She says it's worked for her, so that you might check in with her that it's continuing to do so. It's a good medication. Carnivore diet, do I still recommend? I don't recommend the carnivore diet. I recommend eliminating carbohydrates, or at least being very restrictive with carbohydrates. I follow a modified carnivore diet. It has done well for me. My cholesterol has never been better. My HDL, I've been trying to get it up my whole life. It's up now. My triglycerides, I've been trying to get them down my whole life, 75. My LDL I treat with a statin, and I've been on that since I was in my mid-30s. And I yesterday had a calcium scan, which is a way of scanning for any evidence of coronary disease, and my calcium scan was 0.0. So I have 0 coronary disease in spite of 2 years of a carnivore diet. So, and my blood pressure has never been better. So thus far for me, given my genetic makeup, this has been a good option. I am not recommending it because I believe firmly that people's genetics vary so much that given diet for given individual has to be highly individualized. Okay, let's see what I've got here, guys. Potassium. Yes, my bacon in a bag. That was what I'm still doing that.
I just got fat and higher cholesterol
Yeah,
on your
your
diet.
cholesterol just came back, by the way. We need to discuss.
How was it?
Do you want to talk about it publicly?
Oh, no. Is it bad?
It wasn't bad.
It used to be great before you started this bacon diet because I was
my fault?
munching it. Yeah, I can't eat that stuff.
You shouldn't. See, there's a perfect example.
I know, but it's so good.
Okay, need help with my husband. I believe he's bipolar, but will not go to the doctor. Yeah, this is the challenge with many mental illnesses. Most of them cause something called anosognosia, at least the major mental illnesses, where it blocks their ability to see what's happening. They become resistant, and we have no way to get people to care when they are resistant. That's just the way the laws are structured right now. I would use whatever leverage you have with all family members to, use everybody confronting, not in any kind of aggressive way, but firm pressure, and go with him to the doctor or call his doctor if there is one. Sometime the physician can get them into care.
Jillian Barbari's on.
Hi, Jillian. Where are you?
Ask Jillian.
Wait, I don't see
You
her.
don't know her?
Oh, there she is.
She's on Periscope.
Yes, I see her. Hi, Jillian.
Oh, we have to have her on our show.
Jillian, you want to come on the show here?
Maybe we should do one on Sunday. She can come in.
No, tell her. Jillian, she can Skype in too. She doesn't have to come all the way in from the valley.
That's true.
So Jillian, you can Skype. Jillian Barber, you can Skype in.
She could be our bonus episode.
Be our bonus episode on Sunday. We'll talk. We'll get you set up for that. All right.
Well, if she has time. She has kids, so she has to watch them.
She's a little quiet there.
She's like, "Hi, love you."
Yeah, I know. We love you too, Jillian. But commit to the show on Sunday.
Well, it doesn't have to be this Sunday. I should call her anyway.
Okay.
I've been meaning to.
I got to get on her podcast, and Susan, that's what we need to do.
I know.
So, yes, that's yes. Okay.
All right, Sunday it is then.
Sunday, Jillian's coming. All righty.
Well, let me talk to Caleb, and we'll set it up. I'd like to talk about where she's been, how she's been doing. We're all off work now, so it's weird. It's like, everybody's off radio and trying to find their new place in the world.
Monique, how do you know Jillian? She was on Good Day LA for many years. You know her from the Howard Stern show. She did news sports broadcasting for a long time.
Well, she reached out to you when my kids were born too, so we've known her since then. When she was on
Gumma.
Fox.
Gumma said, "Hang on, this is interesting. Stop selling drugs. Which drugs am I selling exactly, and how would I do that even?" So tell me about that. That's very interesting. I'm interested to know what you're thinking. So, do I fast?
We literally
I
have
try
no
to.
drugs on our website. Like, we always make sure that we have non-pharmaceutical sponsors.
But here's the thing people need to understand about if you're not a surgeon, you are using pharmacology as a doctor. That's all we do. We make recommendations of physical therapy, and we try to get you change your lifestyle. But in terms of medical interventions, if you are a physician, you use medication.
Right.
I'm not a surgeon, so I don't use a knife. I use medication when I'm treating somebody. Now, that's different than, I assume, what you're talking about in terms of selling medication. So I'm wondering what you're talking about.
What are we selling?
I don't know. I want to know what he's talking about.
We were just selling bacon diet.
Gumma. I'm not selling that. I'm saying I use it. Persuasion, intelligence, use it for good. So Gumma, tell me exactly what you have in mind. I'm all ears. Or where I've not been doing it. Okay. Thoughts on hormone replacement therapy, including HGH. I am sort of in the Joe Rogan camp. I do believe that testosterone replacement therapy, and I do certainly believe for women as well, but it has to be highly individualized and highly specific. For instance, I would love to take testosterone replacement therapy. I can feel that it's not what it used to be, but I have prostate cancer, so I can't. So it has to be very individualized. Gumma, I'm still waiting for you to tell me something meaningful here. He might be a troll. It's true. Michael says, Jillian, you are the best. Keep going here.
She is.
Do I fast weekly? I don't, but I should. I'm an advocate.
He gets a colonoscopy once a year.
Once a year.
That's like a big fast.
Right.
Ugh.
Okay. Rogan's doing kind of carnivore for the month. I bet he'll like it. I bet he will. It is really, for me, it's been an exceptionally. I sort of never gotten sick less. I've never felt more energy and better sleep and things. So
yeah. You don't snore as much.
So Gamma, you say I missed your statement. The statement I said was you said I'm selling drugs, and what I said was please tell me where I'm selling drugs and what drugs I'm selling. Number one, and number two, when I practice medicine as a non-surgeon, I use medicine. That's what I do. I practice medicine. I use antibiotics. I use antihypertensive medication. I use anti-cancer medicine. That's what I do as a non-surgeon. I'm not. I can say at any time what I do in a given diagnostic situation and what I would do given a certain diagnostic spectrum, because that's what I would do. I'm perfectly entitled to do that. Yeah, it's live, powdered. You're juicing, Amy. Nice. Interesting. Okay, Lisa wants to know about mirror neurons. I believe mirror neurons are essentially, and this is going to be a very sketchy description of what they are, it's essentially when you see somebody else engage in motor activity, there's a strip just below your own motor neurons that fires off as though you were moving yourself or preparing to move yourself in exactly the same manner as what you were watching. Those are mirror neurons. And some people believe that that is a function of empathy. That's how people build empathy. I'm not in that school. I think too much is made of mirror neurons. I think they're interesting, but I believe there's something much more bodily based, feeling based in empathy. And the autonomic nervous system and the spinal thalamic tract and the insular cortex is much more involved with what that all is rather than these mirror neurons. Wrote a good book called, I think it's called How We Feel, that talks in great deal about that. All right, you guys. And Gumma, you're not telling me what your idea was here, so I'm all ears. Susan, are we about there? Jillian, you're going to come on.
30 minutes in.
30 minutes in.
It's amazing how fast that goes.
It is. It's very satisfying to talk to people and to try to help.
Drew loves to talk.
Is that a good thing or
You're
a bad thing?
You're a good talker. You have a lot of knowledge. It's interesting.
Well, I like to give it back. Just give it
out.
I
don't understand half the stuff you're talking about.
Well, then help me, because clearly I'm not.
No, I mean these are questions people know about. I don't have all these health issues. I mean, I understand them, but
I'm after yesterday getting on television saying I'm not running for Congress, and then today waking up to everybody telling me I'm running for Congress.
It was kind of a bummer, though.
No, but it makes me worried about my communication skills. So if I'm saying things that you don't understand, you need to
make
me stop.
You feel like you have to, but you don't want to.
Look, Valerie Allen's on here, Susan. So, I just want to make sure I'm being clear.
But to also be clear, he's not running for Congress in the next 2 months, because we would have to literally raise $2 million overnight, and it would just
I don't want to do it. The whole point was
he would have to give up his career, and even though he doesn't have radio, he still has a huge career, and we're trying to continue getting his voice heard.
So again, I don't want to. I feel morally compelled to do something. And that's what I was talking about, and that's what I'll continue talking about. And I'll continue to something.
And we're peddling T-shirts.
And Susan wants me to put up these T-shirts again, so don't forget. So there you go.
Get yourself a Dr. Drew After
Colleen.
Dark T-shirt at merchmethod.com/Tom Segura, and then check out our show this Saturday or Sunday at 3 p.m. and call us and ask more questions, and you'll get longer answers.
Yeah, that's a call-in show. So again, we'll try to keep doing daily doses during the week. Generally, we'll be here mid to late afternoon, generally speaking. It's going to move around a little bit.
It moves around because we're testing different times a day.
Yeah.
And we have to do it based on our schedule. We can't just do a daily one because it changes so readily.
And here's Rex again for his daily appearance. I'm not going to drag him up on here today again, but he seems to like the camera. All right, you guys. Thank you so much. Appreciate you ringing in. Jillian, we'll see you in here on Sunday. And, we'll have Paulina Pinsky on as well. And I'm just watching your last few run-throughs here.
There's Rex.
You see him?
I put up a picture of Rex.
Okay. Well, he's here panting very loudly.
Yeah, I don't want you to put him on the chair and squeeze him and make him lick your face again.
I don't make him lick my face. That just happened. Okay, guys. Thank you. We'll see you on Sunday.
Okay. Call us.
Bye-bye.